Welcome once again to the WGLEU. We are into match week 7, but I assure you action is nowhere near stopping. We have 3 great games coming up for you today. And before we get to that sort of detail and information, let's at least talk to the rest of the desk. Ollie, how are you doing today, buddy?
Feeling good. We're getting to the pointy end of things in match week 7. So still got another 4 match weeks to go, but we're starting to really see how the season's coming together, and I think we've still got some pretty incredible matchups as well, like some of those top teams.
Exactly that. A couple of teams obviously were shying away from playing out their games as they did have other commitments at the time, but we are going to get to see some of the best of the bunch going head-to-head. But it's not just me and Ollie at this desk. We have the one, the only, the beautiful Melly. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Lauren. I'm feeling great. I really can't wait for those matches. I mean, Stronk, Utopia, the first match is already going to be a cracker.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing, I can imagine, as I think Melly was a little quiet for us. We can hopefully fix that one up for you guys. Not sure what happened there, but, you know, you got to look at Melly. I guess that's half of it, right? We'll get the delightful content later. She's giving me the stare already.
The stare, the smile.
Uh-oh. Anyway, guys, I think that's almost enough from us, actually. Let's hear from Melly again. Let's see if we can get...
Hi!
There she's here.
Hey, there we go.
Hello, people. How are you doing? I'm feeling great.
Well, we know the audience would miss you if we didn't come back to you, so do feel free to have a little chat to them, because I know they cry inside when you're not here. So, Melly, I know you missed these guys.
I mean, great matches today and a great match week ahead of us. And today it's kicking off and you guys are here with us. Thank you for joining. Join us on Twitch chat as well. Chat to us. I'll be there in there as well, chatting to you. And also a big shout out to our mods, keeping it always tidy and clean in there. And very nice, actually. It's like one of the nicest Twitch chats we have in the whole world. Whole world.
You are the master
like in
of
the
Twitch
whole internet. It's really nice in there. Come on.
It's a good place to be.
But well, we have of course our votings, but I think later more to that, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. And I think now you've seen the entirety of the desk today, we need to remind you of who was here last week. The man from down under. Let's have a little look at the recap of what happened not too long ago.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Week 6 of the WGLEU Season 1. Casa Crew sit up the top, sitting fairly pretty, of course, with a bit of a blemish just before the break. They're losing to Tornado. They need to do enough damage to keep Rusty Roster from getting confident enough to push on towards that cap, and that is not the case here. Rusty Roster seemed pretty comfortable, jockeying back and forth, putting shot after shot in. And you can see Piotr, he took a shot in from Polswood now, so out of range, surrounded inside that middle cap. Look at all the red on that minimap. Rusty Roster have this canvassed out nicely, and now it's going to devolve in just a straight shooting gallery.
I mean, Curler for Formula 1 did a little bit of a bad job there against Figo and Doric. I mean, it took a lot of damage, and Rizik from the back as well starting to punish.
Yeah, he's hit, I think, at least 3 out of 4 of those shots here. So he's let his clip go. Quite a quick reload time there for the TVP, so he'll be back in, well, maybe 15 more seconds to do just that again. Then the firing time between shots is actually what's so filthy about that tank. It's just like, you may as well just take 1200 damage to the face and walk away, because that's exactly what is going to happen. Karov has actually backed off that train line after Rusty Roster tried to respond by sending their own Batchat and M46 pattern there. But Karov has got plenty of shots here. You can see the pattern can do that. He can roll over the top, he can get the hull down, and he can make the shot. Karov not driving the kind of tank that has the gun depression to allow him to make a particular maneuver. So he actually has to commit to rolling over the top completely. But that's fine, because Rizik is, you know, putting some damage towards Polsved, out of range. Look like they're just going to now be making a bit of a push from the south. It's Rusty Roster who split themselves up there, lined themselves up here.
I think this is going to be the end of him. Mursky is in the background though, so Penta do have to be careful of that.
Dreamlike's been caught with his pants down here. New Multishow just barreling in from the south. He'll get the finish on him easily enough. He has taken some damage, but now he has a Batchat hull in front for protection, and Mursky may not have much of that himself there as well. He's decided to stay up on the hill. He'll eat an extra shell there from New Multishow, but that Batchat now on reload, and an extra tank has moved up on towards the cap. All right, so maybe a little bit of a...
I was getting hyped for that.
Yeah, me too, dude. The last time we saw it was so sick. That was in the old format. The CDC, you can see it pulling forward. It does have a good fire rate. It's very, very fast, but it's a big tank. That's the problem. That's really the only weakness it has, and no armor, of course, on top of that here. So the CDC, you see, look where Raven has positioned himself.
How did it bounce that Conqueror shot?
Don't even know. It's
I mean, that's like hashtag World Tank, so it's some of the bounces.
Paper mache tank, bro. Yeah. It really is. But Raven has his turret positioned in that direction. I would have assumed to protect someone else with his hull after he died. We've seen it used on Himmelsdorf for that exact reason, but it looks like some other plans may be in the mix here for Penta Sports. Now, note their team. It's double Batchat, double 50B come in from behind. There might not even be a Crespix to fire at in a moment as he goes to the one shot. A new multi-show now with 3 shells in that Batchat. He's hitting a lot of damage per shot. Going to be very, very scary there. A bit of team kill, strangely enough there. Vale getting taken out by the dead zones. He just poked up a little bit too far, but it doesn't look like Synergy have the capacity to punish Penta for such a mistake.
I think Raging Potato could probably solo the whole of Synergy at this point in time.
Yeah, he's looking very, very healthy, especially compared to the rest of Synergy. Only 3 takes left for Synergy, and this is match point. They've squandered so many rounds in a row.
Unsupported, really. Oh no, he's got a bit of support in the back from Bratty and Tarantula, but still, it's a straight line, and really they can't provide that much.
I don't know, man. Wombats are now really starting to get involved here. I mean, still a lot of health on Kaneko for the most part, and Bratty actually takes down his teammate, so that's brilliant. First of all, just absolutely brilliant. That's not what you want in this sort of situations.
Yeah, they have to push across because if they turn their turret one way, they're going to get shot from the other way.
Yep. Just not good, really. And this is what happens when you can surround an enemy team. But the Wombats now fancy a bit of a fight, and they might have done it just early. Going up on the hill, not really what they want to do here. Look at the damage. Look at the front-loaded burst coming from all these Batchats. This is Wombats really ticking it up to 11 here, and the damage is following. Look at Pat just getting completely burnt down. The burst fire is so real. Wombats putting all their eggs in the autoloader basket, so they need to make these first shots count. And so far, so good.
Yeah, those Batchats have done enough damage to really allow them to reload for the 35 seconds they have to. Because let's be honest here, KB also had a lot of auto-loading tanks.
Crux now just forced back. He's down to the one shot as well. And there's still some consistent fire to come from the Wombats, of course. They've got an STB of Kusok who can really be providing the damage in the interim. I mean, 5 auto-loading tanks is a bit dangerous for any team, but if you can make it stick early on, you're going to be golden. And so, ladies and gentlemen, time to finish things up here. Been an absolute pleasure to have you back with us, of course. We will see you on Tuesday. Lawrence should be back for that one, of course. Week 7 kicks off 7 p.m. Tuesday night. Be here or miss out on some awesome action. We'll see you then.
I certainly am back, but it's always good to hear from Mitch. And someone else who's back is Wombat on tanks. They're starting to rack up at least some victories, some shaky, some questionable performances, but KB did get crushed. Now, you obviously got to watch that game, but how's that starting to affect the rankings? Because KB was sitting pretty comfortably around the mid-table, almost not towards the very top, but you know, around the 5th, 6th marker.
Yeah, so we can have a look at the table, and you can see Kansas Crew still on top. They haven't really played since the break, but they're still somehow up there. 20 have had a great time. KB, they look very good for the majority of the half of the season, but Wombats clearly stepped up after their loss against Synergy.
Yeah, a lot going on that table. Of course, check it out for yourselves throughout the usual forums. Check it out on Facebook, Twitter. It will all be out there. So if you want to keep yourself up to date with all of the ongoings and the rankings and the upcoming matches, there's portals for that. But still, let's talk about today's games because that's what you are here for. And you mentioned we hadn't seen Kazna in a while. We're going to get to see them second today, facing off against Oops, actually. So it's a top 3 clash there, probably my highlight of the day. But anything standing out to you in these matches?
I think that's definitely my highlight as well. I mean, Oops versus Kazna, it's going to be great. Utopia Stronk could go either way, and Stronk has had 7 losses in a row. Right at the bottom of the table, Utopia probably the best post team in there. Kazna Oops, I think that's going to be fantastic. That middle game, so definitely stick around for that one. Tornado versus Rusty Roster. I mean, Rusty Roster looked pretty weak against OR last week, so I would expect Tornado to do pretty well there.
Yeah, they should pick up the slack, no doubt about it. But I did mention the fact that you can get information elsewhere, and I'm pretty rubbish at telling you how to do that, but I know someone who can tell you how to do it, and that's Melly. If people do want to get involved, of course, there are so many ways they can do so. Do you mind taking us through them?
Absolutely. The most popular way of actually getting involved is our team vote, of course. We can not only predict the exact scoreline for this matchup and let us know which team you favor, but also win bonus codes. We're giving away 3 bonus codes per match. That means 9 in total today. And of course, use the hashtag WGLEU on Twitter to get it involved. If you have any questions, for example, or just want to tell us something, if it's nice or, well, the not so nice things, I'm not going to read actually, but I have like an built-in filter for stuff like
yes,
that. It's
the internet
Troll
filter.
filter.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. Yep.
That's pretty awesome. You should maybe think about that as well, Ollie. But yes, then he wouldn't see any
That's not
tweets.
for the internet, it's just myself in general, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, hashtag WGLEU on Twitter, and of course, our team vote as said. Also, if you want to post us something on our timeline, memes, for example, you're very welcome to do so. Send us messages, comments, or whatever. And really don't forget to subscribe to our Twitch channel to get a notification as soon as we're going online next time, so you won't miss anything.
So that sounds pretty good to me. I guess the guys at home need to get on that pretty much right about now. As soon as you're seeing this is your call to action, make sure you go ahead and follow Melly's instructions. But still, enough of that. Let's give you an idea. In case you guys wanted to get those votes starting to build up and maybe get an idea of who you fancy in this matchup, let's hear from the boys from Utopia. Well, we almost heard from them. You saw them, but we shan't hear from them just yet. It was just a tease, you know. You get to look at them for a second, a dash, a moment in time, but it has faded now, and we can get Ollie's thoughts on Utopia instead, because you are the mastermind, clearly, of all that is World of Tanks. Break us down what you think of these boys.
Well, I know what Hallucinogen said. He said it was, going to be a tough matchup, obviously being a Polish team. But I think, Strong Siema have had so many bad results, and they've shown some glimpses of brilliance.
Yeah.
But, I have to say, Utopia have been pretty good. I think they have the biggest chance out of all the Polish teams to qualify for the finals. Out of range, obviously, did well last week. But, I think this is the kind of win they need to get under their belts. Utopia are just a solid team.
They certainly are. They are currently in 10th, if I'm not mistaken, and Stronk is slightly further down, around the 12th marker. But they have been having close results. You have been seeing, as you noted, those glimpses of kind of good play, but there's just never that consistency.
Yeah.
Is it just a lack of playing together? What do you think is hindering them at this conjuncture? Do you have any idea, or do you just think not had enough time to gel yet?
I just don't think they're particularly, well suited right now. I think they're just not playing together particularly well. I think they have some roster issues, some internal issues. I think there's all sorts of problems with that team. It's a bit of a shame because I thought, coming off season 1, they would be able to go into this season pretty strongly, but I think they had a bad start, and that just continued rolling downhill for them. So it's a bit of a shame, but yeah.
So, do we know the first map between these two? Is that
It's going to be
noted?
Steps as our first map. Nice open one to start us off with.
So, whose play style do you feel maybe suits that a little better between these two? Because, generally the Polish teams are quite creative in the way they play, and they, maps like this certainly lend to that style. Is this favouring one more than the other?
Yeah, the thing is about Utopia is that they were like one of the first teams, for instance, in 754 to use 5 AMX 1390s and just be super aggressive and roam around the map. I think a lot of people think they are a slower team, but they're not. And I think that's why they will be better on this map here.
Do you think they're going to be better overall, though?
Yeah, I think they will be. I think this will be Utopia's game.
Scoreline?
5-2 to Utopia.
5-2? Okay. So you're going to give a little bit of faith towards Stronk. We'll have to see if that comes through in the end. I know the guys in chat are relatively vocal, to say the least, when it does come to your Polish sides especially. So I do want to see your support in chat. Let us know who you are supporting for this one as we do get ourselves ready for that first map here, which is going to be, as Ollie noted, Steps coming in.
Yeah, Steps is a pretty open map you can see from both teams. It's interesting that Utopia have gone for a bit of a heavy lineup though. They've gone for the WZ111-4s. We saw that last week actually, but we saw on Ghost Town, so that's an interesting pickup for them. Let's see if it works out. Pretty good side scraper, very strong, very durable. And Strong Siema do want to head them off. They're very well aware that those heavy tanks will be wanting to push in towards the trench.
It looks as though we are going to get that eastern side clash. So reading the opponent's pickup of lineups very well here. It is Stronk, of course, on the defense. Just to clarify, Utopia, are on the attack. So time limit will be against the likes of Utopia. So they will be looking to make the move. And the initial damage being traded out fairly equally until then. Erjek gets a little more than he wanted in this one. Going to be forced to back away but can't escape as Bishu closes out the first kill.
Yeah, Bishu gets a nice little kill there, and I think that's just pretty weak tanks to try and go up against Utopia. And yeah, okay, Utopia are kind of in the open, but they're hull down with the I7s and WZ, so very easy kill for them. I think they can just push through now. They can be more aggressive, and they can assert some dominance. And, the exchange is just going so well for them.
Yeah, and that STB1 is looking for some cover, some respite, but I doubt they're going to find too much at this point. Already down so low, Strong Siema is going to have to really fight their way uphill at this point. And let's look at the HP already, such a disparity there. Even though Utopia did have that heftier lineup, as you did know earlier on, it is certainly paying off, and quite heftily here. But so far, as you said, they could have been pushing on. If they maybe sit around, rest on their laurels, is there a chance for Stronk to get some more damage in here?
Well, I think Stronk Siema can. If they stay in this position, they're going to be able to do some good damage across. But, you know, at the end of the day, Utopia just has to push in. I'm kind of surprised that they're taking this long to actually do that. I mean, they've got all the advantages. They've got still plenty of HP to play around with. They've got one tank ahead. They can just push in. They can start to surround. And you can see the TVPs. They want to be on the flank. That's, you know, with that low penetration, that high burst, the flank is definitely where they are strongest. You can see the Bat Chat in the middle is trying to close down that RU-251 catch.
Yeah, and Bishu could be in trouble here. They did try and go on that flank, and they have had a few shots for free, and Guccio does get punished. He was the man doing a little bit of damage towards Utopia, but a nicely spread outside here for Utopia as well. No one tank has been focused down too much, and Catch Me's the one in the 251 on the flank. On the backside here is Shokyu is going to find him, and should be able to do a hell of a lot of damage to this boy, as Catch Me just gets to watch as this is going to go down. A couple more shells for Shokyu as well, and this should be a signed, sealed, and delivered round for Utopia if it keeps up at this pace. Bearing in mind, Stronk only have those 3 tanks left, and already Hunter's going to be swept aside.
Yeah, just 2 tanks remaining now, and I mean 6.6k to 3.5k. I mean, the STBs are good in this position. They can certainly do some damage, but you know, Utopia can just push in with the superior numbers.
That's exactly what they're doing. And sure, they may have been cost at least 1 life at this point, but look at Speed now. He can go nowhere. He knows he's stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and while there's that TVP, but whether or not it's going to be that to finish off, we'll yet to see, as Bishu's the one who comes around, claims it, and Utopia pick up round 1.
Yeah, very convincingly as well. I mean, if that's how they're going to play, if that's how Strong Team are going to play, this might even be a 5-1 or a 5-0.
But say you're going to adjust, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, a little bit more tricky on 768 when you've got a lot of maps to play around with. You can't just say, okay, you know, this is going to be a really one-sided result just on one map. You've got to look at a few more. So, yeah, I mean, that round, Utopia with the heavier tanks, and Strong Team just walked straight into it. Utopia just pushing across into that right side with the WZs, the IS-7s. They were hauled down, and you could see Stronk Siema trying to push across, trying to do damage, trying to get the early peak, but they did nothing there. And yeah, I just thought Utopia's shooting was on point, didn't miss any crucial shots at the beginning, got that first tank out of the game very quickly, and that was game over. Pretty
much by that point. And there was a moment of hesitation to a degree from Utopia. I was expecting them, exactly when you said it, to kind of keep pushing, keep pressing the issue, but they did hold themselves into position for a while and then made their move. Do you think there was ever a chance maybe that Strong could have maybe turned the tide there, or was it almost too little too late by that point?
Yeah, I think they couldn't have turned the tide. I mean, I guess the only way they could have done it is they pushed out of that trench area and gone up north, but that would have only kind of prolonged their death, I kind of feel, because that would have been, you know, Utopia in the right side, getting control of that cap. They got 3 big heavy tanks to control it with. It would have been super hard to get back again. So, yeah, I think once they'd lost that first tank and about 1.1, 1.2k HP in another volley, that's going to be super hard to win from. So, yeah, I mean, okay, Speed did really well on the STB at the end. And you can see those TVPs just absolutely did so much damage with with their burst. Forbidden Wicked and Bishu all doing above 2,000 in that one. Very good stuff from them.
Yeah, just so much damage. You can almost you can't do much with it, and you can literally see Utopia as a cluster a mile ahead of the vast majority, excluding Speed, of Strong. So just individually having a real struggle there on the Strong side. I'm hoping maybe the side switch will come in and they can adjust something that when they go in on the attack, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be their turn to try and pick that one up.
Yep.
Maybe give them a little bit of freedom, not just to be responsive, but to be able to create the plays. Otherwise, a 2-0 start is not what you want, especially on a map that necessarily isn't one-sided. It's not got a side bias that we see to your Ruinbergs as such, even though every time we say that, we see Ruinberg going like a 2-0, which is just ridiculous. Yeah. But still, anything in the lineup standing out to you, or again, kind of what we expect, very similar from Utopia?
Yeah, very normal lineup from both these two teams. I mean, the first one was, of course, a little bit of a strange one with the WZs and the IS-7, but this is more standard. They got STPs, Object 140s, TVPs, pretty normal stuff from both these two teams. Of course, Utopia now on the defensive side and Strong Siema on the attack, so everything's switched around. It looks like Catcher's just going straight across the middle, a newer player for Strong Siema. Only just joined, I think, last week, so let's see how he performs. Obviously, he's going to be playing that tier 8, so he's not going to have a huge effect on most of these matches, as Papa Pavian does get boosted up.
And no pre-fire to this spot, which I'm quite surprised about. To a degree, it became quite commonplace. We saw teams looking for possibly that kind of fire towards the opposition, looking like they wanted to just even deny the chance of it happening, because it can be such a prevalent spot later into the game. And just in case people aren't so aware as to what it can do, what are the effects of having a tank in that position for both sides?
Well, the effect is that you don't have to really worry about cap number 2. You have a tank that's basically unkillable, and you can blind shot over to cap number 1 very easily. I mean, it's such a turreted position. It's super good. As we know, I mean, the defensive side on steps is all about that right side. It's all about the trench. If you can control that, you can win the game pretty easily. So this is a good start for Utopia. Stronk Siema don't seem to be particularly fast off the mark. They look like they're pushing up north towards that cap. But looking at Utopia's lineup quickly, we said they have STBs, they got TVPs. Haven't McMoney in that forward position there in the AMX 3090, so he's going to be spotting across. He's got both the binocular telescopes and the camo net, so he's got the view range and the camouflage boost 20%, 25%. And that's going to help him a lot. And, you know, he's not really going to move from that position for a while unless something significant happens.
And more often than not, you can occasionally see it being like a one and done spot almost. But he does have the capability of getting out of there if he does play it right. It's depending, I guess, completely on the player. But looking at Stronk, seeing what they've done, they have completely gone against the grain as to what Utopia did on their attacking side. They've headed over towards the western side, taken control, and to be fair, no real damage coming in just yet. They're going to at least start that cap up, and that is catch. And then you pointed out as being a little newer to this, but oh, he's being punished already. Welcome to the WGLEU, buddy, because you've just been reminded you can't pull that stuff off. Already down to 383 HP. Was that even worth it?
No, I mean, they didn't really expect McMoney to be in that position, and if Stronk Siema have any kind of clairvoyance here, they'll just be blind shooting towards where McMoney is, so, somewhere around those bushes. And of course, the 1.1k HP, it's going to take quite a few blind shots, but they will eventually get him down. Now, Hunsel's making the classic mistakes of blind shooting, which is aiming too high. A lot of players do that. You should always aim lower, and you can see it's not really finding anything there. I mean, they have to kill McMoney. If they don't kill McMoney, they have to push that right side, which is defended by the STB.
Now, surely the issue is, if you're, let's say, Hunter, or Hunter Sword, should I say, you're saying you've just cleared that spot out, and then continuously people are getting spotted from it. You're seeing other people now having to do the same. You're seeing Guccio trying to clear it out. It's a matter of comms by this point, and McMoney still completely scot-free here. Eventually he might get shot at, he might get picked up, but he's already paid a hell of a dividend. And look at Speed, he's committing towards this one. He might be able to spot out McMoney, as he is so close if he does crest over the railroad, but already being sent packing then, as they're so well away here, and Utopia really holding their ground quite well.
Yeah, Utopia just standing strong, just not moving. And every time, you know, Stronk Siema's peaking right now, they are being punished and they're being sent packing. That's as simple as it goes. And I think for Stronk Siema to win this one, they have to kind of regroup, blind shoot where McMoney is, try and get him down for the next couple minutes, and then potentially end up rotating down towards the south and go for cap number 2, because if McMoney is there, there's just no way you can cap. And you've got to remember, Utopia is that team which does like to put tanks in strange bushes. They were the team that always put Papa Pavian in D6, and it worked out very well for them. So I'm surprised Stronk Siema are kind of falling into that same trap, but they certainly are, as Speed, he's already received 333 damage. He really can't move, he can't do much, and you can see that position of Papa Pavian on the hill is paying off for them well.
Yeah, it really is. And I did ask you earlier on, what are the benefits of that position? And you couple that with McMoney being able to spot these guys out, you get a beautiful, beautiful position of being able to just kind of keep overwatch across the entirety of this map. And again, sending Speed away. And Speed's just kind of having to suck this one up. There's not much more to be done, as Bishu does already get catch down and out. And again, Utopia just holding the ground, receiving very little damage to Shukyu and Muka, the only ones to take any sort of damage. As Hunter Sword does go roaming here, bit of a 4-man pack, going to be heading down towards the south, but they are going to be working with slightly lesser numbers here, which really could cost them. If all of Utopia realize what's going on, they can easily turn turret and get some damage done.
Exactly, they just have to click onto it as quickly as possible. Hunsel's actually going into an interesting position. He might be able to do some good damage, but Speed has been caught again by the position of McMoney speeding away, and he's down to 348, so that's a one-shot for an average tier 10. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised though. I mean, Stronk Siema have got 2 tier 10s up north, and then 4 down to the east, and Hunsel is now spotted. He is hulled down in that Object 140, which does have decent turret armor, not as good as the T62A, and a lot of people are like, hey, why do people use T62A? It's because of the turret armor, bros. But I think Utopia, if they push forwards, they can potentially just push Huntsword out of the position, or just get into a safe position further up north.
And the problem with me looking at this is the fact that no matter what Stronk seem to do, they take so much damage en route doing it. Bear in mind, Hunter Sword's now taking fire. Bear in mind, Speed got caught on the way through. Stu already a little lower than he'd like. Aojek at the start caught the brunt of it, and now one of the other remaining players in that STB1 taking their fair bit as well. And you look at Utopia, Mook is a little low, but it's certainly not the end of the world here, and I'm just not seeing options for Stronk. It looked like they're trying to adapt towards that eastern side, try and find a weakness here, but Utopia are dealing with it well. They're not overreacting to anything. They're relatively calm, but I'm just wondering if Stronk are just going to try and pinch their way in here, but so far, just none of the shells they need connecting.
Utopia, one of my biggest problems with them was the fact that they just weren't willing to go forwards and just, take that advantage and win the game straight out. And you can see that, I mean, they're so far ahead right now. They've got Aojek down to 432 with an Amarak down. Speed in that same situation. I mean, this could be the game easy for Utopia. They're 4k HP ahead, and they should just push, take down whoever they want to, have money come from behind first, and then just focus down the tanks as quickly as possible. I mean, yeah, okay, they're playing it cautiously, but 7 minutes into the game, with such an advantage, they should probably be practicing just for, the harder teams.
It looks exactly like that right now, if I'm honest. I can see people like Mary having a good little watch of this in chat as well, and a couple of others just keeping their eyes on this one. It's always good to see the familiar faces in chat, of course. And all of us keeping tabs on what these guys are bringing. But so far, as you noted, Stronk just seeming to dwindle under the real stoic nature of Utopia at the moment. They're not having to play that aggressive style that they can bring to the forefront. They can just sit back and relax by now. And, well, I've got to say for Stronk, I'm a little disappointed they didn't bring something more than this. Those STB1s are being able to get away with murder by this point. The two of them relatively out on their own, but Papa Pavian as well, keeping that Overwatch position on, denying people like Steroids even a chance at this one. He gets sent away by Shukyu. And I just don't see a single member of Utopia falling at this point. They're on 9.5k. Shukyu is a little low, he could fall, but again, Bishu doing the work. Aojek falls, and Stronk Siema one by one, just being picked apart here, and you've got to filth them in a way. They tried that Western approach, but the positions coming out from Utopia were just far superior. McMoney being able to hold it down so well, coupled with Papa Pavian on top, just giving that Overwatch, not allowing anyone to get away with anything. Now there's a little bit of a move coming, but it's not without trades. A little bit of damage comes in, and 2 kills fall off the back. Utopia never letting the ball drop at this point. 3 left for Stronk.
Yeah, this is game over right now. I mean, it was game over as soon as McMoney was in that position, and Stronk Siema didn't really blind shot enough to get him out, and I think they'll be kicking themselves after that game when they get to see the replay. Maybe they would have considered doing a little bit more. Than Huntsword's poor blind shooting as well didn't help. And finally, Utopia are going to just bite the bullet, push in, and finish these last remaining tanks off. I think McMoney is even going to have a bit of a 1v1 against the STB.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm just going for this. McMoney, I guess, got to be able to watch these guys for so long. Hit the shot, McMoney, I believe. Go on. We're just going to watch this really awkwardly. There we go. Finally takes down Speed. And the final will fall. That was Guccio and Utopia looking dominant, to be fair. And you've got to say at that point, really, Stronk didn't do much to challenge them.
No, not at all. I think we all saw what happened there. McMoney in that bush, cancelling out that northern cap along with Papa Pavian on the hill. Then you had the other option, trying to push around to the east side, but they'd already lost quite a lot of HP. 2 tanks were down to like 1-shots, basically. I think Huntsword did a good job in that Object 140, trying to hold the kind of fort, trying to do some damage towards Utopia, but there was nothing cemented. I didn't feel like they had any direction. They just got into this 1-on-1 trade position where Utopia clearly were in the better position, and obviously they end up losing that.
Yeah, not the best of starts. A 2-0 is pretty much the worst start you'd want, especially when it goes so badly in that second half, because you just think, well, we're kind of out of ideas. What do we do now? Our initial plan, our gambit, failed parlously. Where do we go from this point onwards? But of course, you guys at home have been getting involved. I'm sure Melly's been keeping tabs on you and what you guys have been thinking. But Melly, how are the votes going so far? Because I love getting the initial impression from the audience.
For Utopia, and now dropped down on 95. So
not too much then.
Nothing, but yeah, that's one hell of a vote if you ask me. We usually see those 90% numbers from the teams like Kazna Crew or former Virtus Pro, now Wombats on tanks. And well, for Utopia achieving such high numbers is
good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we theorized after that Christmas break, maybe, the audience was a little hesitant to get involved, maybe, because there's a lot of kind of 50-50, 60-40 votes coming in. But it seems that people have got themselves back and ready, knowing what these teams are bringing.
You absolutely saw that, like, during the first half of the season until match week 5. All those votings were close to the 50% marker, as you just mentioned, and now they're just heading straight one way and putting their money on their teams. And I love to see that, actually, even if it pays off. I mean, 2-0 after the first map, that's not bad.
No, it is really good stuff so far. So a perfect start for any Utopia fan. You guys are reading the game well, so nicely done on that. And of course, if they do want to get their votes in, they still have time, right?
Still, it will close right after the second map. So after the 4th round, 2 more rounds to go. Head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, and get involved for everyone that just tuned in.
There you go. Get involved. There are goodies to be won, but we can go into that a little later on as well. If you guys are accurate, at least, with your predictions so far. It's not for all. It's only for those who win. But still, next map coming up. Do we know what it is?
It's going to be Cliff.
Ooh, nice. So relatively similar, I guess, in the creative aspect to a degree. Maybe not as much as your Steps. I think Steps is kind of the highest degree of that, almost with your proper rockers. But Cliff can be quite an enjoyable, aggressive one as well.
Yeah, it's a good one. It was actually my favorite map in 754. I was, crying when it was removed in Season 1. But we have it back. It's back, and it's back to stay. I think it's really great. We get to see all the good parts of World of Tanks. Skillful plays on the right side hill, rushes down towards the west side, good engagements in the middle, and everything in between. So this is going to be a good one. It is going to be Utopia starting on the defensive side, and Stronk Siema starting on Utopia on the attack, and Stronk Siema on the defense. So, yeah, I mean, right now it looks to me like Stronk Siema aren't much better than they have been the whole season.
All right. So, Stronk, you've got to turn up now. You don't want a 4-0 on your hands. This map doesn't lend to it either. These are not the one-sided maps that you can maybe get away with one-sided scorelines on in any degree. But here we go. A Western approach from Utopia. A little different on the attack, but maybe just wanting to get the damage done. And Aojek might be caught with his pants down very soon if he's not too careful.
Pretty surprised, actually, that Utopia did that. I mean, they could just go in the middle, and they know they got the skill and the coordination to be able to take down Stronk Siema. First exchange just go across. Ojek's pretty lucky that the TV didn't find the second shot, but still more damage is being done.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. He knows he's in a linchpin position. He's got steroids now backing him up, and you can see the response from Stronk. They're instantly wanting to pounce on this, but I'm not sure if they realize how many tanks are here. They will very, very soon. A lot of tanks being spotted up by now. Shukyu's noted, Bishu's noted. They know roughly where these guys are. It's allowed the likes of Speed to get some good map control, but now what can Stronk do with it? They've already taken a couple of shots, but none without a reply.
No, exactly. I mean, Utopia are still slightly behind here. I mean, a couple of 100 HP, but really it's even. The interesting thing will be if Stronk Siema push a tank up and towards that hill. That'll make it a lot more awkward for Utopia to win this, and I think Muka in that position is really going to have to 100% make sure that A, doesn't get spotted, and B, that he doesn't let anyone to go up that hill, because that will be very hard to undo. You got Object 140 kind of circling around, maybe trying to get behind Utopia. But, I mean, this either goes two ways. A better team seems to just push that southern side a little bit. This is Utopia, push the southern side, push into the middle, and just go for a brawl. Some teams send the RU-251, as you can see, it's going up north, then use the rest of the tanks as spots, and then get the cross shots on, do some damage with the RU-251, kind of whittle them down as much as possible for the rest of the team, for the rest of the team just to go in and finish the job.
So which plan, excuse me, works out? That's the big question here, at least in my eyes, that Stronk have options to be able to take a really good map control advantage here. You just laid them out pretty much, and you also highlighted what can be done against them. And Muka is one of those players who's going to have to be pivotal here and be relatively cautious. Bearing in mind, Hunter Sword was spotted up towards the north in that Object 140. In the south, though, that STB has yet to be spotted or noted by the opponent. So far it's a bit of a Mexican standoff here. No team wants to really commit either way.
Yeah, because there's no tank on E5 or E6, the RU-251 didn't find anything. Plus that Hunt Sword here was spotted, so McMoney's got to be very cautious of what he does. But you can see Utopia starting to gather their forces around the corner, so they obviously want to push.
And they are going to go for the standard lower side push on this map. They got Mucker off to the side as well, and he's going to be really important to the damage they do.
Now, McMoney is relatively far ahead of the curve here, maybe going a little bit early in this one. He might go down for absolutely nothing. He gets shredded there in the 2-5-1, but here comes the real metal from Utopia. They need to get the damage done, and pretty darn fast. Catches on the front lines, already swept aside by Shukyu, but Utopia are dwindling in HP. Can they keep hold of this? The back and forth comes in. The TVP is gunning in for the fire, but already the 140 gets shredded down by Ojek. The trades are coming out, but so far it looks like Stronk are holding on relatively well. What can swing this?
But the STB of Mucker has to come in and actually do something. He's really got to start pushing his weight for his team, as Utopia have failed pretty parlously to make that push work for them.
What can Muka do here? This is the big question in my eyes. They're down to 2 players, and I think it's almost too little too late. There's too much alive for Stronk, and especially with Wiki going down there, it's all in the hands, I guess, of Muka by now. He could maybe get one on the way out, but he was disjointed from the battle. He didn't come in at the right time, and sadly, timing can be absolutely everything in this one, especially if you're a Utopia fan. This is not the start you would have wanted in map 2.
No, as we said, these maps kind of lend to certain teams, and their Stronk Siema were just, slightly ahead. I like their positioning. They were ready to receive the standard push from the south, so they just immediately reversed backwards. They had the tanks on that right side on a slightly elevated hill. That's the most important part, because that gives you advantage and it gives you the multiple angles of fire. And yeah, okay, Muka tried to alleviate that a little bit, but it was like a 2 versus 1 situation, or 3 versus 1. And the tanks on the lower side, they did a very good job of staying alive, reversing back fast enough that they didn't receive too much damage, and also using Rex of their fallen comrades as cover. So staying alive for long enough, consistently doing damage, not missing too many shells, and Utopia trying to surge forwards. But then after doing that initial kill, then those TVPs were on reload, and that's really where you can kind of see the point where Utopia starts to drop off that match.
Yeah, now, is that, do you think, just intrinsically embedded with the team, I guess? The likes of Utopia, is there maybe focus fire, their coordination on these pushes a little bit lacking? Because, to be fair, on paper, I'd say player-wise, I'd still favour the likes of Utopia up against Stronk, but Stronk, was it just better positioning that paid off for them? Do you think they could actually do that again on the other side now?
I don't think Stronk Siema will do that same thing. I think Utopia won't either. I mean, you can't push on that western side very easily, or we never see it, at least, because, I mean, you just don't get there fast enough compared to the north. You obviously get in worse situations, worse trades. Desha did well, so he obviously got, basically 3 clips out. Speed, but you can see that the Object 140 is 2.1k. Hansel got into the game pretty quickly, as you can see, in 6th place, and yeah, I mean, the bat chat was great at the beginning, but then it's got 35 seconds reload. So in a map like Cliff, where everything's so quick, I think you'll see a lot of teams shy away from the bat chat, where the game is decided within that 35 seconds, and if your bat chat doesn't hit all 5 shells, it's really not going to make much of a difference, and it's going to be significantly worse than a TVP, which can get, let's say 2 or 3 clips out.
Yeah, and I have to give note to Speed as well, who did well in the first map damage-wise. Of course, he didn't really surmount too much, but this time around it seemingly paid off. Want to see how well he does throughout this entire kind of series, see if he does keep this sort of performance up, because he has been headlining so far for the Stronk side. Whether or not, of course, that transitions into this next half is yet to be seen. But as I said, Cliff isn't one of those ones where you can divide it by attack and defense or bias at this point. It very rarely ever comes down to capture points or anything along those lines. Maybe the clock running out can be the only real issue, but north to south, it doesn't really make a difference. Is this going to be a 2-2, do you think, off the back of this? Is this the one where you think maybe Stronk can find it? Now they've got a little bit of confidence. They showed they've got some performance here.
Yeah.
Or was that just a little bit lucky, or they just played that situation better?
Well, I think on Cliff, there is a slight defensive bias we generally see. So I think Utopia will be able to pick this one up. T49 being picked up, TVP's Object 140's STB and a bat chat, and something pretty similar from Stronk Siema, obviously with that E50 Alsem. So to me, that says immediately that they're going to push into the middle. They want to have that good frontal armor of the E50 with a lot of HP, a lot of weight, and a lot of horsepower to support it. So a really good tank in general. And a lot of people kind of discount it, but it's really a good one. But yeah, I think Utopia, they're just going to go for the standard engagement. And I guess the big thing for them will be, do they put a tank in C5? Actually, it doesn't look like going for the standard engagement. It looks like going to push down towards that western side. This is something I said which a lot of teams don't do. They said, okay, maybe an RU-251 in there, but so many tanks is interesting. Ojek actually in the perfect position here to spot that push.
I'm curious to see this. This is something we saw occasionally back seasons ago when that western side was dabbled with, as you noted. And Aojek, he's either going to spot them or just be shredded. He does spot them. This is great. Gets a little bit of damage now. If he can get out of there alive, fantastic. He's given such an upper hand already towards the boys on Stronk that they should be able to adjust for this. Muka could be a bit of a thorn in the side, but he's got time to wait before he can make another shell at this point. Speed, though, the man I highlighted before, is taking a pounding, but Huntersword's found Muka, and this is a really awkward situation. I want to see if Stronk can dig the way out of this, because Speed being so low, it's getting dangerous, and Wicked finds him.
Yeah, great stuff. I really like that position from the bat chat all the way down towards that right side. It took Huntersword quite a long time to find him, and he's done his job. He's done the damage he needs to do for the rest of the team to finish this off. And even Muka finds a great kill onto Stu Rides there.
Straight up trade on that one, so both taking each other down. But in the end, it is Utopia holding the numbers and holding the HP in a bit of an unorthodox fashion. You do not see this Western play, especially from the Northern Star, coming out on this map. But so far it was working well. They now need to retain those numbers, keep that HP high, and see how well they can do. Aojek can be a nuisance though. He's still in the lower ground, but he can keep some attention turned this way. Wicked wants to be the player to try and challenge him down, force him away from this, but it does give Stronk an avenue of attack. But first shot comes in, and it's a good one from Wicked. Follows it well. 2 more, he doesn't need it. Only 1 more to finish that off. Great play from him individually. But now, the 4 remaining tanks from Stronk are kind of just in the middle of nowhere here. Now everyone from Utopia can pretty much focus them down.
Yeah, they're just going to focus down. TVP's the Object 140. I mean, this is an absolute death squad. They're going to do so much damage. Bishu also chiming in from behind with the bat chat, and Wicked as well now from the front.
Oh, this is just an absolute decimation of Strong Siema. They started well. They thought maybe they had a little bit of luck in this straw, but it's not worked out that way. Utopia claiming this one back to their hands. Desha going on a bit of a run here, making sure no one's going to escape at this point, and no one is. Papa Pavian's going to find Catch, and Guccio going to be put to bed by Forbidden. And there we go. Utopia back in control. 3-1 on the scoreboard, and looking pretty dominant on that western side. What was that push though? I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've seen it in this season from that side.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I definitely caught Strong Siema out, and even when they had Ojek in that position, I felt they didn't really know what to do with it. I mean, we had Muka, who kind of was the bait there. I mean, we've seen before, like quite a few times, that tier 8 go up there, tanks going towards that western side, the other team just pushes in, kills the tier 8, gets control of that, that right side area around the foothills, the mountain of the lighthouse, and then, that's very easy to win from that position. But Muka in that position, hard to kill, because you had the bat chat all the way to the right side just being able to pound. I think he hit 4 out of 5 shells. Basically took that 1,800 TVP down to a one-shot. Muka also, getting Stu Rides in the end with a T49 when the rest of his team came up. So great little play by him, keeping them cemented, keeping the rest of them distracted, doing good damage with the bat chat. And that's just impossible situation to come back from, basically.
Yeah, Speed and Muka almost got instantly wiped off that game, 2 for free there. It's pretty inspired, to be honest. And to be fair, I think in this new format, you don't so often see such defined strategies, but it was a really nice kind of like one-time play almost. You can't do that every single time. There are quite heavy counters, I guess, to that sort of form. But look at that damage. It's quite obvious who picked this one up. Excuse me. And I want to see how much damage even Speed got out in comparison to the other rounds where he was actually let off the chain a little bit here. And then when he got completely locked down, this is going to be a real one-sided affair, I can imagine. But good play from Wicked in the end. I think him, to me, stood out a lot, and he took some individual fights that I wasn't expecting him to do.
No, he was good. He's kind of been shy this season. He hasn't really done much damage for his team.
Yeah.
And it's good to see him pick himself up here. Bishu, that was that guy in the background there with the bat chat, got 2 solid clips out, 10 shells. So yeah, everyone from Utopia, apart from Catch and the E50, really just pulled their weight. I mean, that's great stuff from them. And, Speed in the end doing 0 damage. He was the guy who got caught out in the middle by Bishu, and Stu Rides as well, getting caught out by Muka. So, yeah, super convincing round from Utopia. As we start to look towards what could potentially be the last map here, it's going to be Ghost Town.
And an interesting one as well. I'm trying to think, did either side have... I'm trying to remember who... Was it Pavian who had that insane round on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Utopia had like an almost unbeaten record. Well, an unbeaten record last season on Ghost Town. Still doing pretty well this season as well. So I kind of like Utopia on this one. I think they've been fantastic. It suits their style with the 754. They had the IS3s. Now they have the IS7s, FE215Bs. It's a good map for them.
Yeah, it really is. Looking forward to that. But you guys at home have had those votes coming through to us, and of course, this is the cutoff point. So I want to know the ending scoreline to that, Melly, because that was looking super one-sided. But there was that little bit of a comeback there. We saw that one round, but did it change their opinion?
Not really. I mean, 87% still speaks for itself. And if we have a closer look on the exact predictions, we have a lot of 5-1s, 5-0s. So this could be actually it in the last map.
Really good.
Yeah, the
Really
vote is
good.
now closed. People, thank you for getting involved. The next vote will be open in a few minutes, so don't forget to check out our Facebook page. And of course, if you have to leave after this match, don't be sad. Just follow us at WGLEU, and then you will stay updated during live tweets from me.
Sounds good. I like it.
Yeah, you won't miss anything. It's good.
Yep. That's why we all follow it, If I'm not sure what I'm casting, I'm saying, okay, check it back on Twitter. There we go. But no, do make sure you do that. Do get involved, obviously, on Facebook and Twitter, as Melly said. But back to Ghost Town. Now, if you're Stronk, you're kind of staring down the barrel of a gun at this point, because you're coming into what could be your closing map against Utopia on Ghost Town. It's not like it's, maybe a 50-50 split between maybe they can do well. It's how much can we do against these guys? And surely you'd almost want them to try something different. But what is this from Utopia?
Utopia, full FE215B stack. I mean, we see the FE215Bs a lot, but with 5 of them, plus the 2 Conquerors, we've got our first time in the WGL history a fully British lineup. Great stuff to see.
Thanks, Utopia.
Been waiting for this day for ages, and it's finally arrived. So let's see how well it does. I hope it doesn't get horribly trounced, and we all look like idiots.
God, that'd be horrific, wouldn't it?
Still got the still got a cup of tea for the boys, so all good. But yeah, I mean, is it called a boiling vessel? I think they have a boiling vessel in British tanks, so they can.
Do they?
So they can make tea. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think we need one here in the studio.
I think we need a boiling vessel
I think
in the
we
studio.
do.
But yeah,
You
I mean,
guys at home
Utopia,
agree?
71% victory on this map. They are starting on the defensive side, so it's actually their stronger side, 75% win ratio so far. And we were talking about how strong they are, how good they are on this one. And, when we look at strong Siema, 100% win ratio on the attack, 0% on the defense. So read that into what you will. They should potentially win this round, I guess. Could win this round.
Could. It's ambitious. I'm not going to write it off yet, because it's obviously a possibility. There's always a chance.
16,000 hit points.
Jesus wept.
I think that's the most we've seen.
I'm trying to think there's anyone...
No, I don't think so. I mean, the mouse
with the
only
mouse
has
included.
only has 500 hit points more, the mouse. So then you have the Conquerors there with basically 2k as well. It's a lot for a tier 9 even, sorry. But this is super... I think Utopia expected just to charge through like Rambo and be able to find some strong Siema tanks, but instead they're just being spotted by strong Siema. And Catch, if they just focus on Catch, they're going to get killed. Like, this is not going to work out for them, because he can just peek up that T-54, be cheeky, spot them out, and then go back down. And with that T-54 turret, there's a good chance you bounce shots as well. So yeah, Utopia got kind of trounced here, wrong positioning, slightly slow to react as well.
But will Stronk punish on this one? I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they can find a little bit of way to get this one done, and a couple of tanks crossing towards the north could be caught out here by Stronk if they can find the line of sight to actually do the damage on this one. Steroids leading the fray thus far, of course. Catch up in the north being the distraction that's certainly caught Utopia's attention, but the cap has started, and the more well-rounded lineup of Stronk could really come through in this sort of situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a good position now. They got the E100 in the cap. They've got control over that middle area. They don't really have. They need to get that T-54 in a better position. But the thing is, if Utopia commit to this cap, then Catch is going to come in from behind. He's going to start pestering. He's got the same damage, almost the same DPM as a tier 10 with 320 damage. And yeah, he'll really be able to punish. And you can see Utopia being spotted everywhere they go. So there's no surprises from them. And Strong Siema think they might just be able to win this out in a brawl.
And I'm worried if they go for this, though, because Utopia can always adjust. They're a good team on this sort of front, but we're going to find out how good any second now. As here we go. Strong Siema are going to crest the corner, but where is the backup? Where's that fire going to come from? Who are they going to go for at this point? Wicked is just on that cusp, trying to make some shots count here, but very few connecting, very few doing the damage they'd want by this point. Guccio on the flank as well. This is getting very painful very fast.
Yeah, this is the big point here. If Guzio can actually do good damage from behind, but Catch gets caught out, that's a big blow there for Stronk Siema.
Yeah, it is. I'm wondering if they can maybe work off the back of that. A little bit more damage now coming towards Stronk, and it is mostly aimed towards Guzio and Speed. Look at them already starting to dwindle here. Wicked just holding them back. Steroids gonna feel the brunt of the British power thus far. Already Speed gonna start dwindling too. Stronk Siema had the upper hand, and they should be closing this down, but I'm not seeing it at the moment. Desha, Papa Pavian are going a little low here, but certainly still on the playing field. This is a heavyweight back and forth matchup here, and Mooka might have a good shot towards Hunter's Sword at this point, and he's gonna take it. Not gonna look that bit of a chance down. And now already, just blow for blow, Stronk are falling behind, and Guzio is getting decimated again, down to nothing, 19 HP. And the trades are coming out favorably for Utopia, looking like they're on point to keep this insane record on Ghost Town.
They shouldn't be winning this. I
They
mean,
really
every
shouldn't.
single position Stronk Siema were in was better. They could have had Catch in from the side, pestering constantly, didn't have to peek, didn't have to die. They had the T110E5 with the bugged Commander Cockpit, which is like 260 millimeters of armor right now. In a hold down position, so you can't penetrate it anywhere basically. And you had the 100 in the same position, so this should not have gone towards Stronk Siema, but towards Utopia, but they were doing so well in those exchanges. And as Guzio falls, it's going to be another round on the board, And you know, even when the British are put into a corner, when they're down in the dumps, they keep calm and they carry on and they win the match. That's how we work.
I'll go with it for now because it paid off, but 4-1.
So glad we won that game.
It shouldn't have happened,
No,
though, let's be real. That
shouldn't have
really
won.
should not have happened.
No.
Like, we used to be in the underdogs, through every World Cup or anything else in our
Well,
lives.
I think World Cup, we're not even underdogs. We're like
Losers.
Yeah, we're just losers. No point.
We
Euro
really just
Cup's
don't
not
get
a question.
involved. Yeah, we're
We'll
just like...
see how the Euros go.
Yeah, we'll have a good crack at it, I'm sure. But 4-1 now being the scoreline. And as we said, this is a good map for Utopia. It always has been.
Yep.
Previous seasons included. But when everything is against you, you very rarely turn that. And was that basically just Stronk making errors?
I think it was. I mean, you've got hull down tanks in a hull down position. The other team isn't being particularly great. They are, right in front of you with most of their tanks. You got one tank on the side, but you can just get one versus one side scraping situation, so you can cancel that out. So yeah, I mean, they should have won that. The E100s, the FE should have been going forwards, doing damage to T110 as well. But you had the situation, Stronk Siema just making the wrong peaks, not really doing much. Not being the ones who are being aggressive, and it just went really badly. You can see that Wicked again with a great scoreline, 3.2k HP in that FE215B, and yeah, it does show testament to Utopia's individual skill that they didn't really end up missing that much with those tanks.
No, they really didn't. Considering they were struggling to connect initially, but then it just fell into place. And as you said, the individual power coming out from this team is pretty much superior, especially when Stronk did have the better positions. They had the better chance to really start it going. Where were they at this point? That's a big issue they're going to have to come through. And now, going back into this map, I can imagine frustration is ridiculously high at this point among the team, especially when you've had a chance to pick up a round or the victory to start off with, and you let it slip. That's when things do get a little bit more flustered.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we're a match point right now here for Utopia. If they win this next round on the attack on Ghost Town, they will be picking up the match. Simple as that. I think Stronk Siema have a chance. I think we could be going to a third map, but a fourth map even. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Like on that one round on Cliff where they were decent, they did win quite convincingly, and that's how 760 works these days. You either win convincingly or you lose pretty badly.
Yeah, there's very little room for middle ground, I feel, and I'm with you on that. It's a lot more punishing. And we are seeing a pretty loaded lineup again for Utopia. No messing around for these boys. And Stronk, once again, kind of switching it up, keeping it relatively well-rounded. But, last time it didn't work particularly well for Stronk. But then again, it's Utopia on Ghost Town. How much can you read into it? Who knows? But your prediction, is this going to be closed out on this map?
Well, I want to say it's not going to be because I want my scoreline to be right, 5-2. So I'll have to see.
Solid analysis.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 analysis. I mean, if we look at the way Utopia's playing, we look at their previous record on this map, it's going to be a 5-1 scoreline. I mean, that's what we would say. They look like they're going up north. They don't have an IS, or they've got one IS-7. So yeah, it's going to be. No, they don't have any IS-7. So that could be interesting. See if they actually go for that northern cap. It's going to be very hard to go hull down. But with those FE215Bs, maybe they're just saying, okay, we're going to go up north because Utopia, because Stronk Siema thinks we're going to go up north, and we're just going to go into that brawl situation again.
Okay. Catch, what you got for us here? Papa's going to take one, but that's about it. Now, he's been in this spot before. These rounds he does like to pull off, and that tank is just got such a low profile. It can sit so perfectly in these spots, and it will force the hand of Stronk down the line. Now, are Utopia in a position now to back him up, though?
It looks like it. They are holding the right positions, but I mean, it's only an object 4-on-6, and you know, we often see teams being able to get in and get that cap down, but because it's an IS-7 there, it's really hard to kill, and they can't win because they're getting shot from many sides. But it's 4-on-6, it'd be fairly easy to kill, so we have to see how that one works out. But it looks like Utopia playing pretty aggressively. They got the better positions here. They're keeping Stronk Siema at bay. Typically, when we see the exchanges working out well for the team on Stronk Siema's side, they push up north with some tanks come from behind, and then be able to egress forwards in this position to go hull down again is also very good.
So, already Utopia starting to check all the boxes, but Shukyu gets caught out, down to 425 HP. Good little bit of a combination coming out from that IS-7 and the FEs on that slightly eastern flank there, but so far you're seeing Stronk starting to close in the touch. Speed there, Guccio there, everyone keeping eyes on that tower, and Aojek finding Shukyu is going to open up opportunities. A good start here for Stronk in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, they got really outplayed in that position. You can see Utopia actually pushing forward onto Guccio.
They want to make the most of this. They're going to try and turn the tide and try and get back into this battle, but that AMX-50B is holding on for dear life. Bishu, Wicked, and just about everyone else trying to get into this one, but still, damage is coming out. The IS-7 is going to pick up 2 kills now back-to-back for Stronk, and maybe your scoreline could still happen at this rate unless Utopia put their foot down. The cap has been halted. It's not going through anymore, and Stronk Siema are taking damage, but they're holding numbers. Daisha surrounded, Speed now in the cap, laying down the fire. He's going to take one more shell to come through from him as Bishu tries to do a bit of damage, but not enough to do much to this one, and that IS-7 is running rampage thus far, leaving just 2 alive. Utopia maybe took this one a little too lightly as Bishu burns alive. Steroids puts him out of his misery, and Wicked, last man standing.
Yeah, Wicked on his own, the man who's been playing very well. He'll probably get the highest damage in this match as well, in this round even. So, yeah, I mean, again, Utopia, I think they got impatient there. They thought we could just win this match very easily. They were still in an okay position. Okay, they lost Shukyu, who shouldn't have died in the first place, but they could have still won it. But they got impatient with those FE2 and 5Bs. They pushed forwards, trying to take down Guccio, and they all got absolutely destroyed. I felt like they shouldn't have been peeking around that corner either. That's just terrible gameplay. I think they should have just been patient. They had no reason to peek. You know, they were doing well either way. But then lost Shukyu. They decided to push forwards into a position where you had tank here and you had tanks here, and you're just going to get boxed in. That was, you know, that's going to be game over very, very simply. And you're only going to surprise a team for so long, like maybe like a 5-10 second window where the other team's trying to catch up to your move. But in these kind of small maps, close proximity, pretty flat, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. But I'm still a little bit shocked that Utopia would let kind of drop the ball on that one. As you said, Shukyu making errors there, gameplay errors, just kind of maybe overconfidence, just not taking it seriously enough. And when you have such a high win rate on a map like this, you can't be doing stuff like that, even if it is against someone like Stronk. Bear in mind, what's the next map we're coming into now?
Himmelsdorf.
So Himmelsdorf coming up, let's say. Stronk can still do well on this. That's the thing. You open up that window of opportunity, and suddenly it can start to tumble downwards. Now, we did expect maybe that 5-3 scoreline, something around that marker, but I didn't expect to see them losing a round like that, I think is the biggest thing. But then again, I didn't expect to see Stronk be able to deal with what Utopia brought on Cliff. So I guess swings and roundabouts to that aspect, but still, coming into Himmelsdorf, is there a big strength here with one of these sides? Have we seen something ingenious from either of these two, or are they both just relatively well-rounded?
Well, we haven't seen Stronk Siema really play this one. Well, they've played it. They haven't won anything. They've played 6 rounds. They haven't won a single round.
That's not great.
But then Stronk Siema haven't really won much of anything.
That's true. So I guess you can't really read too much into that either.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Utopia's track record is not great either. 33%, defensive 66%. So that's basically almost, it's okay. I mean, defense is definitely a slightly easier, even though like we see 50-50 these days. So, the statistics definitely say Utopia is going to be able to pick this one up. I think they, if they're a sensible team, they would have cooled themselves, said, okay, we don't need to be impatient here. We can just play our normal game. They haven't been particularly rushed in any of these rounds or any of the matches they've played so far. So that's what they need to be doing here. Just keep impatient, keeping their cool, and just playing how Utopia plays.
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully they can just calm themselves down, and we are going to see those lineups becoming locked in here for both sides. Anything standing out to you here, or relatively well-rounded from both?
Well, we've got, of course, Stronk Siema on the defensive side, so you can see both of the E3s there. Interesting, I mean, we see E3s and E4s. We've seen an E3 double twice now, but it's, very good tank, very hard to penetrate in general. So you do have to aim, and that definitely causes time. Yeah, UK, sure, you can penetrate it, but you have to aim, and that's where the problem comes in for a lot of these players against that tank. So, good. I mean, Utopia double 113, been buffed in 9.13, so not surprising. We've seen that in Himmelsdorf last week quite a lot. Very good tank. I have no idea why the 1-1-2 exists, the 1-2-1 even, because it's basically the same size as 113, almost goes the same speed, but is worse in every single way apart from that. So, I mean, a lot of people saying that, and I'm gonna be seeing if it's actually going to be featured this season, if that Chinese tier 10 medium tank will featured in the WGL at all, because it can, the WGL kind of says to you what tanks work on which map, because of course these are the best players.
Yep. So I think you highlighted it well. It's people wanting to get the most of what they can, and whether it's not necessarily abusing, but finding those highlighted features of those tanks and placing them well upon the maps. Obviously, if you guys at home do like to kind of get your inspiration as to what you want to play from the WGLEU, do let us know, of course, through Twitter and such. But still, bringing it back into this game, it will be Utopia on the attack this time, of course, and Stronk Siema on defense. Now, 4-2, it's still match point to Utopia, so you would assume we can close on this matchup, unless, again, Utopia make those individual mistakes. But what is their initial move in this one?
So this is pretty standard, kind of 754 setup for Stronk Siema. Very north-orientated. They got the FE215B side scraping there, which is good. I mean, we see IS-4s normally in that position, but the IS-4s hull down towards the left side, alongside that T110E3, which just got spotted by the RU251. So that's good position. The T110E3 is, of course, an A5 behind that rubble. Very strong position, but I find that because it's a slow tank, if you play it correctly, it can just get caught out. And you've got the AMX-50B in B3-4, which can kind of roam between the two. It also looks like the RU251 will be providing that to hold down kind of platform for the FE215B. So Utopia, Stronk Siema saying, okay, we've got the two heaviest tanks protecting that western side, and we got the RU251, the FE215B protecting the eastern cap, the cap number 2. In my opinion, if I was Utopia, with that RU251 on the right side, with McMoney spotting towards the left side, not really seeing much apart from the hull down IS-4, I would think about going for that western cap, but it doesn't look like Utopia's listening to me because they're pushing up the banana.
Again, I'm hoping this isn't rushed decisions. I'm hoping this isn't just a, guys, we need to win run round, we're fine. I'm hoping that isn't the mentality here. I hope they take this not with caution necessarily. Of course, confidence is relatively key in these instances, and getting that coordination absolutely spot on, but I'm hoping that they do keep some sort of mindset towards what can go wrong in this if they don't get all the information they need to this one. But as you said, Hunter in a great little spot there. So hard to dig him out of it. You will have to just challenge him down, but you saw from the hill taking a little bit of flack. Yeah,
I mean, he shouldn't have pushed forwards. That's a really bad play from him because he's now been spotted, and Utopia knows that there's a really strong presence from Stronk Siema up north. Like, they know he's there, and you can see McMoney was cautious around the corner about catch. And he actually fluffed that shell a little bit, but he will be able to get the second one, no problem at all. Of course, he shouldn't have done it because Catch would have been able to hit that shell, no problem. So, bad play from McMoney, unnecessary exchanges, probably a little bit of ego play. We all get frustrated when we lose those one-on-ones. But yeah, I think Utopia's thinking, this is not going to work out for us. We've got to go to that western side. They got the fast tanks to be able to make those rotations quickly and set up nicely towards that west. They're going to put the RU251 behind the house, have the tanks set up on the left and right, and then just play to the advantage they have. Stronk Siema, in very slow, heavier tanks, are going to take a lot of time to reposition.
And I'm glad Utopia are doing this. It means that they are still keeping stock, that they aren't just kind of getting a little overconfident, saying, screw it, guys, if we just rush in and take the fight. You know, you saw that little bit of ego play costing them money then, and I can imagine whoever's maybe in-game leading or keeping that in mind is going to say, guys, let's actually just try and win this out. Let's play it properly. Let's take our time on this. Let's not just rush in. And they are going to take their time. It's a long rotate here from that northeastern side all the way down towards the south and heading towards the west, where you're going to see the likes of Speed sitting on the corner and Aerojet trying to keep that western side relatively well kept.
Exactly. They're just going to be sitting there. But, I mean, I have to see. I mean, the thing is, that Stronk Siema managed to push up early enough with the IS4s, the IS4 and the T110E3. It's going to be pretty good, but it's all about the speed for them. They are pushing down the western side. If we can have a look at what equipment the E3 has, if it's got binocular telescopes or if it's got coated optics, it's going to be relatively easy for it to be able to spot the cap. And it has got binos, so it's got the 25% view range buff, so it's going to be maxed out at 440, which is, you know, fantastic for that tank.
Yeah, really going to be able to suit its position well. I'm hoping that we get to see that actually come to be not necessarily a deciding factor, but a factor towards how this game now does end up coming to a point. But still, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go. There is a hell of a lot of time still to play with, but they are getting into a nice little bit of position. You can see the tanks towards maybe D3 and 4, keeping the rotate relatively safe. You can see McMoney did get spotted, I believe, for a second then, and once again is spotted. So Ojek doing his job and then some.
Exactly, he's just going to be spotting everything out, and Utopia seem a little bit lost here. Stronk Siema, they don't have to play well, they can just sit here, and as soon as they get put pressure on, they might lose this game, but right now there's no pressure on them at all, like none at all. They can sit here, they can do that, Stronk Siema's fine with that, no problems at all. But yeah, the onus is on Utopia to make the next move, to put the pressure, to mount it on, to really start to put weight on them. And that's probably where Stronk Siema are going to buckle, but they still have to commit correctly. Looks like they're going for a little bit of an odd one. Western side push all the way up, and the 113s at the same time.
Okay, so kind of approaching in two prongs, I guess, you know, these two tanks who are in a position to do anything can only aim at so many positions at the same time. Now, it looks like Muka and such, do you want to find the fight here, possibly towards speed or do a little bit of damage, but they are all pushing up. Ollie, you spotted it earlier, you said this is a point, but already burning alive in the background. What's for Bibham? He's got to be careful on that one. But now Muka and Papapavian looking for the fight. Speed was pushed out of position, but look at the damage Muka is receiving. He's tracked, he's held. Aojek is going to take a beating here, but how long can he last? Can he buy the time for the reinforcements to arrive? Or is this too little too late? Utopia taking the fight into their own hands and wanting to decide the outcome as best as possible. The cap is underway, Money's in position. They've removed the one big threat, but now comes the rest of Stronk Siema.
The interesting thing is, though, is that Diabell's on the side, and yeah, okay, the 113 took a long time for Utopia to take care of, but it's taking a lot more time for Stronk Siema to take care of Diabell, and that's really where Utopia are winning this game.
Oh, and catch around the back as well, going to hinder that cap as much as possible. He can even challenge down 1-to-1 with McMoney, and now this is just a brawl, and it is going in favor of Stronk Siema. Finally on a bit of a resurgence here, as the last remaining players for Utopia are so beaten, so broken. It'll take one, maybe two tanks to pretty much close this down. Everyone's moving Papapavian, that is. And they're going to do a little bit of work towards Hunterzord, but by this point, only 4 tanks remaining. It's going to be difficult. But then again, Stronk only has 4 as well.
Yeah, it's 4 versus 4. Now it's 3 versus 4. I mean, yeah, if we look at the HP, Stronk Siema are definitely easily winning this game. Sturoid's going to be able to take down Bishu, no problem at all, regardless if Bishu gets to reload here. And Speed just find Papapavian, so 3 remaining.
Make it 1. Forbidden, just the last man standing. The OX50B just going to be basically waiting until his death does come, and that tank not quite suited to this job, as Steroids should be able to get another shot. If not, it'll be Gucho to land that final blow, and Stronk Siema pulling it back to a much closer scoreline. I'm a little surprised, but then again, watching that round play out, it kind of made sense. I don't know what Utopia's plan was then. It looked like they wanted to just kind of pressure that western side towards the north, but as soon as they got there, it all kind of fell apart.
Yeah, to me, it felt like Utopia played straight into the hands of Stronk Siema. They came pretty close to winning as well. I mean, if Stronk Siema had lost that game, I mean, I would have been super surprised because, you know, like Utopia just pushed straight into their defensive lines. Just straight in, try to pierce their way through, take down a weak point, the T110E3. Took them ages. They received like 2,500 damage for it. And then they were trying to fight around. Diabell was on the side there, and he's obviously that, you know, that should be in the front lines. I think that he should have been with the rest of their players, and they might have had a better chance. But once they took that T110E3 down, it was going to be really hard, because what do they do then? Like, they've already lost a lot of HP. They're trying to go up north. The 50B's there for Stronk Siema in good positions. The IS4 as well. And yeah, I mean, they were just trying to push through Stronk Siema, trying to use their player skill to get through them, but it's not good enough. I would have put the RE251 in the cap, pressured them there, and just used the slow tanks to push forwards. Yes, okay, it would have been pretty hard to get past that T110E3, but it would have worked out for them. It
would have worked probably better than how that went down, at least. So Let's just take a look at this one as well. Bishu and Papavian doing damage, but it makes no odds by this point because by the vast majority of Stronk, you can see that pretty much they locked it down, barring 2 positions on that top 7 board here on Himmelsdorf. So, as you said, walking into that crossfire, it's all good and well being confident, but if they're already holding the angle, very few teams are going to miss that many shots. I can't think of very many teams out there who would still mess that one up, and these guys just had no chance to really do the damage.
Yeah, it was interesting actually there. I mean, I think in 6th place was the T110E3. 3 shots done, 667. I mean, pretty low roll, 750 average. But those are the 3 shots which you would have kind of guessed he would have been able to hit without being too worried about it. And he's still in 6th place. And that is the weakness of that T110E3. It doesn't actually redo that much damage. It reloads super slow, 750, down from 850 at one point. It doesn't have a massive effect apart from being like a solid lump of steel. So you have to see if it's going to work out for them. It looks like both teams have picked up one. It's, of course, Utopia here on the defensive side this time around. So they're on the easier side. They haven't got those tanks on the screen there. That's the old match. That's the last round. They've got AMX-50B, FE215Bs, a Waffentrager Alpha E100, which for a lot of defensive teams has worked out very well for them. We've seen them, work very well around the corners. Of course, if you get all your clips out 1 versus 1, you're going to be able to destroy every single other tank in the game.
Pretty much, and that's going to be in the hands of Papavian there. So, safe hands, to say the least. He's generally succeeded very well in the tank. And look at this different approach, a heavy stack towards that western side. And to be fair, it's relatively well met thus far. It looks like we could see that early engagement coming down. McMoney looking for anyone pushing up possibly the A line or making any initial plays towards a hill. Doesn't spot anyone out just yet. As Catch is up there in the 251, but just beelining straight down the 0 line here, making no subtlety to what he wants to achieve, but the rest of Stronk trying to hold their hand back here.
Yeah, it looks like Stronk Siema expect Utopia to be aggressive down that 1 to 3 line and perhaps even, cross over. And we've actually seen that before from Utopia. They've been aggressive with the 50Bs, pushed them across that eastern side and then gone straight down. But McMoney actually almost got caught out there by the whole of Stronk Siema. But that was a really risky move from Stronk because...
What?
Oh, Catch Me actually gets killed on the hill. Catch gets... I think that's Catch Me. Yeah, I best guess it's Catch Me. He gets caught out on the hill behind that position. And that Waffentrager must have just had pixel shot to kill him. Fantastic work from him.
Papavian, what a way to get into this. At the very start of this matchup, he was the man who really impressed me in that boosted up position on steps, and now you see him once again in these sort of very imperative positions, and he does it so well. But now, the jig is up. They know exactly where they are by this point. Shukyu and Bishu going to be there, trying to hold them back. And I say all of them. They've only spotted out 2 so far. There we go. Speed's now noted. Huntersword a little undercover. Maybe the complete game plan hasn't been spotted yet, but it will be very soon, and there's a lot of tanks watching this cross.
Yeah, there's quite a few, but I would say Utopia are now really comfortable. They're behind buildings, they're pretty safe. They got the Waffentrager, who's just coming off reload, supporting them with the 2 FE215Bs, so there's no way Stronk Siema can push across. Like, for instance, what Wombat did last week against Synergy, just push around the corner. I guess that was against Utopia, actually, was it? I'm not sure. I think against KB. Push around the corner, do great damage. But Utopia played this a little bit more cautiously. So right now, Utopia just fending off Stronk Siema. Every single pass they try to go for, every position they try to go for. And it looks like they are going to rotate. And, without that tier 8 tank, McMoney can just get the hill, control it, and be able to shoot down into the middle or shoot down into the CD line very easily.
So, with all said and done at the start of this game, Desha finding Huntersword, and she got to roll with the punches at that point. But it looks like maybe Stronk Siema are looking for a little bit more of an adaptation here. Looking like, okay, well, that initial plan's not going to pay off. Where else can we go? What else can we do in this one? Reset the fight, and maybe look towards the northeastern side. As they may have found out earlier on, that 1390 of McMoney is very much alone, but already taking so much damage at this start isn't going to be good for them. No,
they're definitely losing these peaks. I'm pretty curious that McMoney hasn't gone on the hill yet. I don't see why he wouldn't. There's a 50B going up there, but he can just peek against the 50B, and he's got control of that tier 10 for quite a long time. And then he can just run down the hill if the T10 if the 50B pushes, and he gets support from the rest of his team. But yeah, Wicked's got good control of the FE25B, 15B. Huntersaw would be dead if the MX-3090 was in the hill. But yeah, it looks like Stronk Siema are starting to push that 8 line. They got T110E3 is coming down. The MX-30 of McMoney is starting to go up there. And I'm pretty surprised, though, Utopia haven't started to rotate back up north or even start to contest that middle area, or maybe even send 2 of their faster tanks down south to the K line and start to get good exchanges against the IS-4 and the FE215B.
Maybe a little bit slow to adapt it. Maybe Utopia just thinking, okay, we can't let it slip any further because then we'll actually lose points. It was a little bit of a throw earlier from Utopia, you know, just really not focusing up and playing the game that I expect from them. But now they need to play a smart game. Now Papavian may have a bit of a shot as they do come around that corner, but no one else really towards the north. As McMoney is going to find Guccio, and Guccio is going to have the angle on him here. And backing up from McMoney, he's going to make a mad dash for this when he gets a shot on the way, but avoids a second shot from Guccio. Driving from McMoney, but he knows he is in trouble between a rock and a hard place. Information aplenty, but the sacrifice is now made and the cap is underway.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, again, as I was saying, McMoney should have been on the hill ages ago. Chooses his timing very poorly, was very slow to the chase, and you know, he got punished for it. Good play by Stronk Siema, realizing that the hill's very crucial. I mean, now this is just going their way suddenly. The only thing that's really going for Utopia is the 50B from behind, and the fact that they won a lot of those early exchanges, and this FE215B is getting caught out.
But timing, this is going to come down pretty close on this cap. We're going to see the Waffle Tiger going in on this. Papavian's going to try and make a shot out of this one. He does get it, but he's committing a hell of a lot in this tank for, and there's 3 there to try and challenge him down. So this might be a sacrifice they're going to have to make here, because who else can reset this? Shukyu does find 1. That's why the FP is going down, but Papa knows his days are numbered. He's done everything he can, but where is the rest of his team by this point? He needs the help here. Stronk are dwindling on HP, though. They're down to very low numbers. Vast majority below 1k, excluding Steroids, who is pretty much, you know, been excluded from the fight now. Bishu trying to get into the battle here with Muka, trying to just corner an Aojek. They're going to pick that one up. That opens up a route to maybe try and pressure the cap, but going back in 1 by 1 is a dangerous game to be playing here, and it means that Desha could be in trouble.
Yeah, Desha's going to be down any second now. I think this might be the last kill for Stronk Siema. I think this is pretty much game over. Desha does find speed. You got the 50B though from behind, which is coming off reload, and Utopia are about 2k HP ahead. Steroids finds Desha, so he's the last bastion of hope here for Stronk.
And well, Stu, what have you got for us? Your performance has been questioned before in the past, but you've got to go pretty big, or it is time to go home. Utopia stepping 1 inch closer to closing this one down, as Guccio is your last man alive, up against 4. 3 shells to be made here, and I think he knows this one is all but done. Utopia almost throwing this game pretty far, but they do pick it up in the end, closing it down on Himmelsdorf after quite the long run. And Stronk showing that, hey, they do certainly have a bit of a bite to their bark, and they don't just get rolled over in these matchups, but in the end, I guess losing that many games to start off with just didn't give them that room to come back into this one.
No, exactly. They didn't have enough fire in the belly to really take that second round on Himmelsdorf. And yeah, 5-3 scoreline was quite impressive from Stronk Team. I think they did well. You can see the familiarity between the two teams. Definitely paid off better for Stronk Sim than it did for Utopia. I felt Stronk kind of countered Utopia in some of those matches, especially that last one. And okay, it didn't work out well for them because they were a little bit slow. It was a good attempt. I mean, I thought McMoney not on the hill was going to be a big point. But again, those like 1 or 2k at the beginning, which Utopia managed to win in the exchanges, worked out nicely. 50B, slow to rotate down the south, but when he did, it worked out well because the FE215B got caught out. Not sure exactly who's playing that one. And then when that was over, like the southern part of the map was in control. They could push forwards. Yep. They had the Waffentrag, which for some reason didn't shoot all 6 shells. Actually go forwards and get the resets nicely. And it was a good job by Papavian. It was pretty close to being capped out. And yeah, Gusia did a good job, but Bishu, Muka, Desha managed to do a lot more. So eventually Utopia, despite being pretty weak, I feel, in that match, they do pick up the 3 points against their Polish rivals, Stronk Siema.
Yeah, the Polish showdown, I guess you could call it, to start off.
Hoedown?
Showdown. I
thought you said hoedown. No. I don't even know what hoedown is, by the way. I always hear it on Americans.
Country and Western dance.
Is it?
I think so.
Sounds, yeah, something like that. Could be worse.
I think it is.
Yeah. I don't know.
Bad. Well,
if you know what hoedown is, let us know.
Isn't it like a country and Western thing?
I don't even know what country Western is.
Hoedown, Throwdown.
Yeah, it's not like a Miley Cyrus song, though.
Yeah,
You guys have done
seems like-
hoedowns before, haven't you?
I just Googled it.
I used to know the dance.
You
to
can't
that
just
song,
Google
to be
something
fair.
and pretend you know it. Like, it doesn't work like that.
I used to
I
like
just
that song
said
by
that
Miley
I
Cyrus.
Googled it.
Did you?
So
You still do.
Well, my old team when we went to LAN, there was a player in my team called Ellie Hodge, right, who was from Watford in London, and she was a bit different. And her
Special.
warm-up song for events was the Miley Cyrus thing. So
What do
all
you
of
mean
us,
warm up?
but every time we were driving to the event, she would put it on in the car on repeat for like 2 hours. It was
Warm up.
Painful.
Warm up for her.
2
Total
hours.
destruction for everyone else.
literally almost
That's why you
just
lost
like,
everything, I think.
there are actually
Hit a
tutorial
soft note there,
videos.
sorry.
how?
No, you won a lot, Lauren. I know. I know a lot of people give you flat like she's not good at games. She's no better at games than everyone I know, basically, in my whole life. So you
I
guys shut
won
up.
like 2 events.
She's actually the most
That's it.
successful professional gamer we have in the casting.
I'm trying to think
kind of
in the casting room.
office.
If there's no, Apollo. Apollo beats me, and maybe Todd.
Apollo.
But they're StarCraft players.
Yeah,
so-
Apollo. I mean,
StarCraft doesn't count.
don't think it really counts. As
Yeah,
a
until
game.
like Koreans get involved, and then
Yeah.
they're just like, "Do you like being group shot?"
I don't think Command and
we at
Conquer was
least
even
made
a
it
proper
to
game.
World Championship, right?
Yeah.
There you go. See, Melly's been there as well. Damn. All right. Anyway,
Yeah, as a female, it's a lot easier as a female. You know, she was
Oh.
playing in the female group.
Ollie, you played
Oh,
World
I'm
and
so
Tank
sorry.
so early on. Bless your heart. Oh, the flame's
It's
coming
okay.
out strong today. The flame is strong, but still, let's kind of summarize that first matchup, Melly, because that was a very one-sided result.
Absolutely.
And it was a very one-sided vote as well.
Yeah.
It looked a little closer at points, but in the end, I think we all knew the outcome there. But the
Yes.
audience, did they back up their votes with their predictions as well?
No, they're more fearing a throw from the sides of Utopia, which we saw. Well, we have to admit,
It got
we
close.
Exactly, and we saw Utopia having troubles closing out matches before.
True.
So it could have happened again, but it didn't. So, but the committee in Twitch chat were already expecting something like that, and they feared for the worst. But luckily, Utopia made it. So congratulations at this point. And of course, the chat stuck to an 87% at which it closed. And the next vote is open. So head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and get your votes in for the very next matchup. And currently, it's... Oh, which is Oops versus Casna Crew, to just grab it in front of you guys. 73% for Casna Crew.
73?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. I guess, because
Yeah, I
Oops
mean,
has
fan
been actually
favourites.
really, really strong. I just find it hard to ever imagine the audience going against Kazna to any degree, because it's like,
67, I just refreshed.
I mean-
okay, guys.
I think Oops has got a lot of well-known players in their team. That's and they're getting some fans.
They certainly are. They are building up a fan base, and as you said,
Let alone look at that logo.
it is pretty
a
cool. To
brilliant
be fair.
logo.
It's amazing. So you look at it first, you're like, what is that? And then suddenly it's like, giraffe.
Giraffe with tanks, and who could go better than that?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you've
Mitch
nailed our
loves that kind of
demographic.
thing.
Of course he does. But anyway, we basically just had our starter for today's games. If you wanted the main course, you're about to get it. It's going to be Oops up against Kazna, a huge matchup here. This is going to be incredible. First against third, bearing in mind in between them is Tornado Rock. So this is going to be an absolutely class affair. I'm stupidly excited for this one. You guys at home must be as well. So, Melly, just before we go to a break, if people already want to get their thoughts to us, everything, their predictions, whatever it is, how can they do so?
I mean, Twitch chat, comment section of our Facebook postings, our timeline, our private message, inbox, and of course, carrier pigeons.
We receive them. We
So
receive.
hashtag WGLEU over at Twitter. And also follow us at WGLEU to stay updated during the matches. Even if you have to leave your computer, we will spam you with live updates from the server. And of course, well... What? Oh, I was about to say something smart, but then it just...
Unlikely.
Oh, come on, Ollie, shut up.
All right.
What? I'll figure it
I
out.
can't read you. Like, what was I going to say, Lauren? In case I could read minds. Anyway, we're going to let Melly have a little bit of a break. I think she needs to just maybe rethink things through. She's
Yes.
looking at me like, I don't know what's happening to my brain. We need to get Melly checked upon as, something's going on over there. And I think, Ollie needs a break 'cause he's about to get way too excited about the second matchup. So, guys, do stay tuned, get a cup of tea, get yourself settled in, maybe crack a beer open, because this is going to be a hell of a game. And we'll be back after the break.